Hey everybody, Eric Spicy here from The Gamer, back with another episode of your favorite game, joined by my favorite co-host, George Foster,
Hello.
and Editor-in-Chief Stacey Henley.
Hello, hello.
We're talking about our favorite games that have choices that actually matter, and I think that topic sort of presupposes that there are games that have choices that matter. Do we agree with this premise in the first place?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
it was
there are
easier to
games
think of
with
ones that
blendings.
don't.
Oh, bold
Yes.
claim. Okay.
I think there's three basic categories when you talk about this thing. There's games where you don't have a choice. You know, they're linear narratives. You might have a choice in the kind of minute-to-minute sense of like how you complete the level and how much you challenge yourself and, you know, what strategy you take. But ultimately, in the way that we discuss it, the choice does not matter. You will reach the end of the game and you'll get a cutscene and it'll be over. Then there are games where they give you choices in conversations, but also in terms of save this village or save that village. But then by the end of it, everything kind of feels like it's all the same. There's only one ending, or the endings don't really change very much, or there's a obviously canonically bad ending that no one's really going to pick if they're playing the game seriously, and therefore the choices don't really seem like they matter. Mass Effect 3, I think, got a lot of criticism for that, because ultimately, by the end of the game, the choices that you've made do not impact the final choice in any way, and therefore how much do your choices matter? I would argue they still matter quite a lot, because there's a major narrative arc in the story. But I think that falls into that category of, well, my choice didn't matter in the end. And then there are games where the choices that you make lock out or introduce or even just narratively justify which of the multiple endings you will take. And I think those are the ones where choices matter. I didn't really think of it in a mechanical sense of like a Baldur's Gate where you can choose how you infiltrate the Goblin Castle.
Right.
My examples, I leaned more on the narrative influence of decisions, but I still think there's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so this is like a big back of the box feature, right? And there was an era where every game wanted to be a your choices matter game.
Infamous, for example, which we've talked about before.
You've talked about it before several times.
Yes. Yep.
So it was like a big thing that games are still advertised on, and it's always in reference to narrative. Because I think like choice is inherently a big part of games. You choose what your character looks like, you choose what weapons you use, and like you said, like you choose how you're going to infiltrate a compound. And so like I guess in a way it makes sense that so much emphasis is also placed on choices in narrative, but it's been such a false claim so many times that it seems like people either don't care anymore because they've been lied to so much, or maybe never really cared that much in the first place.
I think that's definitely part of it.
Yeah, but boy, if you just like look at marketing, it seems like it's maybe one of the most important things a game can do.
Yeah. I'm one of those freaks that kind of just cares about the canon ending. I know that's making me like look like I want to be wedgied, but yeah. I don't know. I like choices as well.
For someone who loves video games, you are actually quite unimaginative, I think, with a lot of things. So we've talked about this before. Like, you don't really do any kind of fan stuff. You just want to experience the game as it is. You're not interested in like, oh, what's the fanning off screen? Like, no, I want to know what I see with my eyes.
It depends. Like Kingdom Hearts, I dive into it. But everything else, like, who has the time? I like too many things. Like, if we talk about everything I get I'm fixated on, I would have no life. More so than I do now.
So,
yeah, and the other thing that you both mentioned is it's so often boils down to the ending. You know, like your choices matter, but it's usually your choices determine which version of the ending cutscene you get.
Yeah.
And it seems like maybe that's like a replayability play in a lot of cases. Like you play the game again to get a different ending or whatever, but like that to me is the least interesting version of your choices matter, is what do you get the A ending or the B ending?
B ending, yeah, definitely.
I agree to a point. I think there are some games where the endings are so wildly different that it is worth it, but it does always feel like a replayability thing when you could just go on YouTube and look up what the other ending is. It feels like a bygone of an old era, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To me, and I think my choice this week will reflect this. To me, the most interesting version of your choices matter is if the choice itself is compelling.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, like whether or not that means, oh, you save the town, and now you know the vendor gives you a discount, or whatever. Like your choices can matter because there's a gameplay ramification, sure. But to me, what makes a choice matter the most is if it was a hard choice for me, if it made me think about something ethical, or like the philosophy of the choice is what I care about the most, I think.
Yeah.
Should we dive in?
Yeah, I'm intrigued by your pick.
All right. I am intrigued by your pick as always, George, because sometimes
yes,
buddy,
I know.
Sometimes, buddy.
No, I think I've hit the marks on this one. I will defend myself here if I have to. Not that I think I'll have to.
All right. I think you got this. Why don't you kick us off, George? What is your favorite game with choices that matter?
My favorite game with choices that matter is Life is Strange 2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Diaz brothers.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite one by far. And it's the one that no one talks about. Like we talk about Life is Strange a lot.
It's definitely the least discussed one. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but so the whole series is about choices mattering, and Stace has talked about it at length before, but we never really talk about Life is Strange 2, and I think it has the most compelling mechanic to make you care about your choices. So most of the games you play as someone who has powers, but in Life is Strange 2 they mix it around. So you play as Sean, who's the older brother of Daniel, who actually has the powers, which is already like a really interesting take on it, because many of the other Life is Strange, like, here's your power, here's your mechanic, mess with that. But in this, it's more about how you raise Daniel. So your choices matter because everything you do influences his actions. So if you're a dick, he'll turn into a dick. And like he's a kid at the start, so he's really annoying. Like it's kind of hard to want to root for him at times, but just naturally it kind of makes you play into like the older brother role, just because everything you do, every choice you make kind of even minutely affects how he'll react to stuff. And I think that really plays out. We talked about how endings are, usually the big one. And what jumps out to me is that Life is Strange 2 has such wildly different endings, and they're all really depressing. Like, there's not a happy ending in that game.
No,
there's a slightly less depressing ending.
There are bad endings, but you're right. There's no like hopeful skip off into the sunset.
No, exactly. Right. There's none that I'd pick out as, and I know this hurts for me to say, there's none that I'd say are canon. They're all equally like, oh, okay, I guess life is depressing, not strange. But like you can have.
I think that's why it gets discussed a little bit less, because in the original Life is Strange, you can say, "Hey, I sacrificed the town and I keep Chloe alive, and we have this wonderful love story, and it's tragic, but I ultimately chose the love of my life over anything else." And there's a little bit of grace in that. Obviously, then they did Double Exposure. I'm like, nah, they broke up,
yeah,
which I hated. But there is it's a happy ending. It's bittersweet, certainly, but there's that's the kind of ending that you want. Are the two girls in the middle get together?
Yeah,
that's the ending that I want from Life is Strange. Obviously, there are romantic interests in Life is Strange too, but the story isn't really built around them because, as you said, it's this brotherly relationship. So it's all about the path that they take, and ultimately, things happen to them across their life, partially because of their ethnicity, and it's obviously a very strong political commentary on America. It literally ends at the border. There isn't really an easy answer, and that might be why people don't like it as much, basically, because people like happy endings. People like when they can kind of make a choice, and the choice is, and I save the town.
Yeah, it's definitely the most depressing, and I kind of get that. I think, I'd love for the two brothers to have a happy ending. Like the happiest one you get is when Sean goes to prison and Daniel like gets to live his life. That is as happy as Life is Strange 2 gets, and even that is just God, really depressing. Because they split up at the end, like they go
They
live
stay
different
together
lives.
if you get the mechanic. I think they stay together. Obviously,
Yeah,
then they work for the cartel and they have a
exactly.
pretty rough life.
Yeah. So it's not the cheeriest note, but I don't know. Just not only are the endings really, really interesting on their own instead of just going for the happy route, but I do think more so than any other game, maybe The Walking Dead is probably the closest competitor for like parental slash family figure. But Life is Strange 2, even if it is like hiding how much your choices do matter, like I'm sure that it's kind of a veil over what actually happens. I feel like my choices matter.
Yeah, I think that's to me what really matters. Like there's a lot of games have the illusion of choice. I think
Mm.
that's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot where
Yes.
it seems like or it makes you think that your choices matter, but actually all paths just converge in the end. And I think that's fine. I actually don't really have a problem with that as long as you actually believe that the choice you made mattered, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The problem is when it's obvious that you can pick A or B, but it all leads to the same place.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree.
All
I
right.
think that's the point, isn't it? Like at the end of the day, this is a video game that only has so many options, and it's going to reach an ending. It kind of matters how much you care about where that goes.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things that goes wrong with these other games that like present choices that you just don't care enough about where it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the like the emotional resonance, it matters so much more than like the mechanical. Like
Yes,
I think people tend to want to outsmart their entertainment.
Yeah.
I think that's true. I think that's
Yeah.
definitely an attitude amongst people.
Yeah. And so like the best outcome is when you're sort of just like swept away by what you're engaging with and not compelled to outthink it.
Trying to see the cracks in between, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And that's the real trick. It's not like how much work gets put into figuring out how to make these branching paths all work. It's like, can you make a question that people actually care about
Mm.
answering? Yeah.
Good
Uh,
pick. Good pick
good
for
pick.
It's
once.
a good pick. It is
It's
a
a
good pick. It's an
good pick.
interesting pick for Life is Strange as well.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
we talk about Life is Strange so much, but we don't talk about
Never
Life is
two.
Strange
Deserves
2.
so much.
Right.
Very good, sir. All right, Stace, what do you got? What's your favorite game with choices that matter?
So I went for a game that I think probably represents an era of choice-based video games. This is my favorite of that. It's The Wolf Among Us, but I think there was
Ooh.
that time when Telltale was just putting out about it was The Walking Dead, which I loved. Obviously there was The Wolf Among Us. They had the Batman game. They had another really big one. I can't remember what it was now.
Oh man, I
Oh, they
mean,
did
There's
so many.
Guardians of the
many
Minecraft.
games.
Galaxy.
Guardians
Yeah,
of the Galaxy was a
Minecraft.
bit later. But like, yeah, that era of like video games, Game of Thrones was another one. I don't think it was that one though. Just when the whole premise was you get to make a choice. That was the whole pitch of Telltale's deal. It was you will get to choose where this story goes. And The Wolf Among Us obviously was like this inverted fairy tales. It was kind of a neo noir detective story. But Beauty and the Beast were there, and Ariel was there, and all these sorts of classic, well, fables. It was called Fabletown.
Mhm.
You got to like play around with the morality of that, because obviously the reason a lot of these stories exist in the first place, these fairy tales and fables, are to teach you some kind of moralistic lesson. We tell these stories to children, we read them as children, and they have a very clear good and evil. Don't do this, don't judge a book by its cover. They have clear life lessons in them, and I think dropping it into a kind of 50s detective style aesthetic, and having you make choices that were kind of dark and gritty, but without being too like, I'm gonna say the word too South Park. Do you know, they weren't just like,
I know exactly
oh,
what you mean.
like it wasn't just kind of, oh, wouldn't it be really funny if we got like Sleeping Beauty to do a fart? Because that's the
Right.
kind of thing that South Park does. Like they were dark and gritty without being obnoxious.
Edgy.
That's about edgy and obnoxious.
Edgy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the idea of it again. I think Life is Strange probably fits into it as well. They kind of had a very similar fan base. But I think those games put a lot of pressure on themselves basically with the choices, because they weren't like, I could have obviously picked Mass Effect, which I've talked about a lot, which has choices.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't buy into the narrative or the choices or the consequences of those choices behind Telltale, you didn't buy into Telltale. Like there was a little bit of gameplay, like there was in The Walking Dead, you would have to go and fix the machine. You'd do like there would be a shooting gallery, and the Wolf Among Us, you'd have to like find clues around the apartment. But they were nowhere near as in depth as, even again, that I don't think any of us are that fond of. Detroit Become Human. That still has gameplay underneath its decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Telltale, I think, doesn't really, but I think that's to its credit. It's all based around how well can you write these characters and how engaging can they be when you are faced with them.
Yeah.
Also, the other game from Telltale I was missing, Tales from the Borderlands, really underrated. Didn't like the
second one was
much.
really good. I love the second one.
Well, that's the
Choose
joy
your
of
taste.
life. Yeah. I didn't think the second one was as good. First one was really, really good. Came out during that peak era as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel they represent what choices matter mean more than really any other game that I can think of, or era of games, studio, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I also think that's one of the best examples of the like social aspect of these choices matters games, where it becomes like the conversation and the way that at the end of those games it tells you 80% of people made this choice or whatever.
Yes, yeah. And you
that.
narrow it down by friends as well.
Yeah, that's such a cool like little thing that adds a lot to the experience. Yeah, and it's those are like, I think a big part of those games is like relating to other people and the choices that they made.
Yeah, it's that the water cooler aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
Not just the actual like, what did the global population do? What 27% of people watered the plant. It's discussing it with friends who play it. I think, which I think is easier for us because obviously we're kind of surrounded by people who play games all the time. But yeah, I think just a really nice era of games that I like a lot.
I think Batman's probably my standout Telltale one. If I had
Really?
to pick one,
That's
if I had to pick
surprising
one
to me.
right now. The whole thing with the Joker and how they did him, I thought that was great. Go on, Eric. What's your favorite Telltale
video games that do Batman?
Yeah, the buddy cop. I just thought it was interesting. I always like a different take on the Joker because he's so, he's so easy to just do the way that we all think of him as. And I guess they kind of do lean into that towards the end, but God, I miss Telltale. Proper Telltale.
Proper Telltale, yeah.
Nice. There's a new one Telltale, right? Experience.
They came back, but it's a different company now. I think they were laid off and bought out. So is Dispatch them? Is Dispatch the original Telltale, or is Dispatch the old
Dispatch
Telltale?
is members of the original Telltale.
Members, yeah. So that's like
splintered off.
That's more Telltale.
That's the Telltale. There's a company called Telltale that's still doing games, but I don't think they're like the Telltale.
No.
Okay, cool. Ask me the question.
Yes. Eric, what is your favorite game where choices matter?
My favorite game where choices matter is Banishers Ghosts of New Eden.
I knew it would be.
Yeah. So I've talked about this game. Well, I champion this game constantly.
More than anybody else in the world.
Yeah, more than anyone else in the world.
Made it.
I know. Another Don't Nod. It's a Don't Nod.
Yes, that's true.
I always forget it's them that did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've definitely shout out this game on this show. It's been an honorable mention before, but it's never been my choice. And this is, hey, the episode about choices. I think
Yeah,
that
your
this
choice
is like
matters.
this is
Be the change you wish to see.
the week to talk about Banishers. Okay, so I'll explain the premise since nobody's played this
Yeah.
game. Okay, so we are like turn of the century, turn of the 19th century, and these are they're banishers. They're a married couple that travel around the world banishing ghosts that are haunting uh, villages, people around the world. They've arrived in America to help this settlement. And right at the start, one of them dies. The wife gets killed by the ghosts that they're there to banish. So the premise of the game is you have to, as the living character, the husband, Red McCree,
Yeah.
you have to make a choice. And right at the start, you have to make a vow to your dead ghost wife. Will you help her ascend, help send her spirit to heaven, or will you do the dark magic to bring her back to life? And to follow through with that choice, you have to either help other ghosts ascend. So you're traveling around, meeting other people who are haunted, and do you resolve that by helping the ghosts you meet ascend, which will then eventually give your ghost wife enough spirit credits to ascend herself? Or when you meet these people who are haunted, do you blame the people who are haunted, um, which kills them, allowing your ghost wife to consume their souls and giving her enough ghost credits to come back to life? So you make a vow at the very start, and then as you play through the game, you ideally attempt to keep your vow. Now, what makes it so interesting is that it's very hard to make these choices one way or the
Yes.
other consistently through the game for a lot of reasons, which is what makes it so interesting. So when you they're all investigations, like they're little stories that unfold, and they're not always what they seem at first. And so in some cases, you find somebody who's being haunted, you figure out why the ghost is sticking around. It turns out the ghost was uh, a very evil person who did a bad thing, and the choice is pretty easy to banish that ghost. When you can banish a ghost, or you can help that ghost ascend. It doesn't matter. That's like there's like a third choice within the binary, a secret third thing, if you will.
Yes.
So in some cases, it's pretty straightforward: ghost bad or human bad. But you've made a vow to do one thing or the other, right? So you may be conflicted by the presented option. Oh, like who's at fault here? Is the person being haunted because they did something terrible that resulted in this person getting killed, or is the person being haunted because the ghost is the spirit of an evil person and their evilness is lingering?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But behind that is I made a vow to either kill all people or
And about
banish
to your
all
wife
ghosts.
as well. This
You made
isn't
a
just
vow
like some
to
thing
your
you've
wife.
started at the start of the game to some organization you don't care about.
That's right. Yeah.
So it has to be 100%, right? Like, you can't be like, well, I'll send this one person, but the rest are being banished.
So there's 5 endings.
Christ.
Which one's canon? Which one's canon?
And so it does matter. So there's like a pure bring her back to life. There's a pure help her ascend, and then there's like a muddy version of both.
Oh God.
Right? It's like a you failed the vow version too. Yeah, but essentially, no, you don't have to 100% go one way or the other. But the game makes it really hard to just go one way or the other. which is what makes it so cool. So, like, for instance, uh, you are sent to there's a ghost in the forest, and it's like a wolf, and it's like hunting people in the woods. People go out to do their own hunting or whatever, and they can't because there's like this wolf spirit. And as you're investigating it, what you find is that this wolf is um a like conglomerate of spirits that got killed by wolves. They were like settlers coming in, and they all got eaten by wolves, and now they have manifested as this ghost wolf. And so that seems like a pretty simple, like, I'm going to help these people, move on. Like, oh, they got eaten by wolves. What are you going to do? Well, it turns out like they got set up. There were two camps coming at the same time, and to protect themselves, one of the camps diverted the other one so that they would attract the wolves and get eaten. So now it's like, well, it sure seems like, the living people who are being haunted are totally at fault here. Like, they sort of brought this on themselves. And that's what the game's constantly making you battle with. Like, maybe the people who are suffering actually deserve it.
Yeah.
There's one of them is about a slave who's being haunted by the ghost of her slaver. And immediately at first, that seems like a pretty simple situation.
I would suggest so. Yes, we immediately is doing quite a lot of lifting in that sentence.
Yeah. But what if you found out that she was treated very well by her slaver and actually loved and admired him like a father?
No dice.
Yeah. So
I do. Yeah, obviously there's complications to that period of history.
Yeah,
that I think are interesting to explore.
It is.
It's making my head spin very layered. About it.
That all the choices are quite layered. Maybe the first couple are pretty straightforward, but
like gimmies.
Yeah, but the deeper you get into it, and it does such a good job of like mixing it up, keeping it like keeping the question interesting every time.
Yeah.
That's what I love so much about it. And we've never really gotten into the endings, but at this point, neither of you are going to play it. It's been years.
I think about playing it every so often. When you bring it up,
who's
I
got
want
the
to.
time? Who's got the time?
It's not my business.
So there's a really interesting thing it does with its endings that I actually am not sure how I feel about this, but essentially, like, so there isn't really the good ending. I think the most clear good ending is helping your wife ascend. You've gone around and you've helped as many people as you could. You didn't kill any people, and you banished the bad ghost and helped the good ghost ascend. And at the end, yes, you lose your wife for good. So it's not really the good ending because your wife is dead.
Sure.
But she gets to go to heaven, and you get to have self-respect, I guess. You get to have good memories of her. If you bring her back to life, that's a pretty grim ending because you had to kill a lot of people to do that. And
but it's your wife.
And it turns out that as a couple, you can't really get over making that choice.
Jesus.
And she's pretty traumatized by being dead. And so there's like, there's a suggestion that it's kind of ruined both of your lives.
Yeah.
Having gone through this experience. What's really weird is that the ending that is definitely the bad ending actually has the most important like narrative consequences. Because if you fail your vow, meaning you promised to do one thing and then you didn't stick to it enough, what happens is the big bad ghost who originally killed your wife, who you have to face at the end, it turns out that there's a lot more to who that ghost is than you thought, and you don't learn this unless you get the bad ending. And in
Right.
fact, there are characters there. So there's like a time travel aspect here, and there are characters who you know to be a young person, and another character is an old person that you find out are actually the same person
Right.
if you get the bad ending. And then the bad ending sends you back in time to the beginning of the story to try again. And so, like, you don't
Okay.
get any of that if you just
Did a
fulfill
good
your vow
ending.
one way or
Yeah.
the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think I just thought that's so weird.
That
There's no other game like that.
that sort of ending really, I think, encapsulates everything that I feel about Banishers from having been told it by you. And
Yeah.
that it seems such an incredibly clever and layered game that puts all of this depth and thought into what it does in a way that is actively off-putting to players.
Yeah.
Everything that you say about this game, I think this feels quite cerebral. I like the kind of
Yeah.
the depth and things that have here, and then there's other parts of that was like, but I don't want to play it.
You don't want to actually play
There's
it.
some of
Oh,
these
yeah.
creative decisions that are being made. I don't see how I would find them rewarding
Right.
as the player actually going through it. And I think that's the same thing. Like the all of the, or not all of, but a big chunk of the narrative lore is wrapped up in getting the bad ending, which results in you having to play the whole game again.
Well, yeah, and also just like the dissonance, I guess, like
Yeah.
you have to feel bad a lot when you
Mhm.
play this game, you know? It's sort of like George was talking about how there's really no good ending
Endings in
to
Life is Strange,
2.
yeah.
And all of those games are pretty dark. Like
Hmm.
they deal with some really heavy themes, and it's one of those things where it's like I don't know if I can say I had fun, but I did enjoy it,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know? I mean, Banishers at least has like a lot of combat, a lot of exploration. It plays like The Witcher in a lot of ways.
We just had that at the time.
Yeah, so like yeah, there is pretty standard popular gameplay, what the gamers demand. But yes, a lot of the game is like having to make hard choices and feeling bad about it. And you're right, that's a lot of people aren't going to like that. Yeah, it's not a crowd pleaser for sure. But you know, art often isn't,
That's true.
milady. I love Banishers. It doesn't get enough credit. But yeah, you're right. You have to you definitely have to embrace, like, I'm gonna have a philosophical, ethical experience, you know? Like I'm gonna get into some really heady stuff with this one. Yep. All right. I'll probably never talk about Banishers again.
I don't think
Or
that's
will
true.
I? Or will I? All right. For the quiz this week, I actually don't have a quiz. I have more of a game. I have a list of basically like the most famous big choices
I like
from
this
games.
already.
Yeah.
I want to go through these and I want to like see how often we're aligned, how often we're made different choices. Yeah, that's basically it. So let's jump in. So we talked about Life is Strange 2, but we got to talk about Life is Strange 1 and the big
Yes.
choice, which
Yes.
we've covered on the show. But the big choice here is between saving Chloe and letting the town get destroyed by the storm, or going back to the beginning, rejecting your time travel powers, and letting Chloe get murdered.
I mean, it's obvious, right? I know Stacey's already talked about it so much that choosing the opposite would seem silly. But
B.
it's just, yeah, it's Bay.
It's B.
BAE Bay.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like,
But hang on, you save Arcadia Bay?
No, Bay is in BAE.
BAE, okay, right, yes.
Yeah,
I
save
always
Chloe.
said Chloe,
But you
yes.
can actually save most of the people, right? Like, am I?
There are individual choices you can make. It's been a while since I've replayed it. I think there are some individual choices where, like, some key characters, like Chloe's mom, I think, can be saved by you doing specific things early in the game. But
right.
no, for the most part, the town is destroyed.
Oh,
You can
good.
there's a couple of people I think that can get out alive. I think if you keep Kate alive, then there's a way to keep Kate alive like through the whole thing. But I honestly can't
Yeah,
remember exactly
I
how
mean-
that part
Yeah.
works.
I mean, letting you like save key characters, I think, diminishes the choice even more, because it's one of those things where, like, I forget what the phrase is, but it's like the law of big numbers. Like the more people that are suffering, the harder it
Yeah,
is to like relate to it. You care
100%.
more
Yeah,
about one person dying than a million
Y-
people dying because you can't
yeah,
even
because you can't
conceive what a
quantify
million
what a
Yeah.
people
million people
is.
dying looks like. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like save the town. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Is it just like
What
the
does the town
buildings?
represent?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you can save a few of the characters you actually care about anyway,
Yeah.
then it does make the choice a lot easier to be like, I'm gonna pick, my best friend and the person I've grown to care about deeply through this whole thing instead of the town.
Yeah. I already
Uh,
saved all the people I like anyway, so it's not a worry.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think of all the like hard choices in games, that's the one I would wager like, I don't know, 80%,
I'd go
maybe
90.
higher.
Yeah.
You go 90%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This isn't a well. This I don't know if you would say this is a choices matter, but your starter Pokemon.
Oh God.
It's certainly
Which
a very important choice. I know, George, you're not a huge Pokemoner, but so I'll start to say, Stace, how do you choose your starter Pokemon?
Um, if it is a new game, like it's the latest gen, and I'm playing it, I really do just go off usually at that point, to be honest, the final stage is leaked. But I
Yeah.
just when the original trailer drops, I see the three. It doesn't really work with ZA because like
Right.
there
Yeah.
exist ones. I'm gonna go with Chikorita because I like Chikorita the best. But when it's the new actually new gens, and you're just kind of going off the vibes, you kind of buy. I think you buying quite early to which one speaks to you.
Absolutely.
And
vibes.
if I see a leak that like, oh no, I really don't want that one, then I might change it. But for Scarlet and Violet, I like the cat. I like the cat
Yeah.
from the first trailer, or whichever trailer the cat was real in. So I picked the cat.
Yes.
Sprigatito.
I don't.
Spaghettito.
So I guess I'm the same, except that I don't always like one more than the others. And when that happens, I default to fire. I don't know why. I think it's because Charizard. That's probably why.
Yeah, fire would be the type I pick most, but generally I agree with Stace, where it's like I knew I wanted Quaxley from the first moment it was shown, so I never even thought about it. I was like, I like the cat, I like the bunny,
Like
but
Donald Duck.
it's Donald Duck.
Yeah.
It's like you're playing Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. I also picked Sprigatito because I liked Sprigatito, but if we go back to like Sword and Shield, I didn't feel that strongly about any.
I can't even remember the Sword and Shield ones. There was the monkey.
Yeah, it's Rillaboom,
It was
Cinderace,
the I loved the rabbit.
and the sniper.
The James Bond, Sobble.
Yes,
God,
Inteleon.
Sobble. That was
Inteleon,
that was a phase.
So like I kind of liked them all equally. I don't dislike any of them, so I just defaulted to fire. Like that's sort of how I do it. Okay. Next I have George, you mentioned Enemy Within, but so in Batman at the end of the second season or whatever, at the end of the series, Alfred is going to leave if Bruce doesn't hang up the cowl and stop being Batman. Which is, I guess, like a pretty definitive way to be like, there's no season 3. Like this is the end of the Telltale story. But also, like, it's an interesting choice just in that Batman would never, Batman would never.
Yeah.
Of course he wouldn't. But then Batman also wouldn't give up Alfred, would he? And
Bruce Wayne wouldn't give up Alfred.
Yeah. So it is interesting because
I just realized he's the same guy.
Never seen him in the room together,
Yeah. You would never have this kind of thing in the comic book because, well, first of all, Alfred's dead currently and has been dead for many years. But that's what would happen is like a character would die and be taken from Batman to increase the amount of suffering he experiences.
Yes.
They wouldn't put him in this position because like what happens next? Like this has to be the end of a story.
Yeah. I honestly don't think Alfred would ever ask that either. Like my interpretation of Alfred is like, well, he's both. He's got to do what he's got to do. So I think I would stick as Batman.
My interpretation of Alfred is he gets no rights.
It is
the
weird. It's one thing to be like, I can't live this life anymore, I'm leaving. And another thing to be like, but I'll stay if you give it all up. Will you give it up for me, my son? You know, that's yeah. The first part I can see Alfred doing. The second part maybe.
Yeah,
not, but
I mean, like he's in Origins, even Arkham Origins, like one of his arcs was trying to get Bruce to stop.
yeah,
It's like a repeating thing, but Alfred's a badass on his own anyway. I don't think it fits his character to be like, please stop being.
yeah. Well, and in
Batman.
Dark Knight, right?
Oh God, yeah, of course.
When Batman turns Gotham into a
Yeah.
surveillance state of his own making, Alfred's like, it's too much. I'm
Yeah.
not doing this.
I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. So to me, that's like, well, he's not going to stop being Batman. There's just no way. As much
No.
as it would hurt for Alfred to go to Paris or whatever.
Moot choice, in my opinion.
Yeah. Nier Automata. We don't talk about this game very much.
No. Because I don't think George is into it, are you?
I have a tattoo of the
jeez.
Nier from the first game. I can't remember what it's called now. I have it tattooed. But I
It
can't
really
remember.
means a lot
can't
to you.
remember.
I liked it at the time. I really liked Reincarnation, but Automata less so. I don't know. It just felt a bit wanky.
Terrible opinion.
I know I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong.
That's
Truly
so
terrible
good.
opinion.
I know I'm wrong.
So good.
You can not like the whole series, but I think I like it. But when a time when I came along, I was like, "Whoa, too much thinking going on by these robots."
It's just too. I don't know. I've never gone with it. I'll give it another go one day.
It definitely is a lot. It definitely is like, you know,
delete your saves. So you can help someone play the
Yeah.
game. Like, cough.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the delete.
Let's get
your
into this,
save.
choice, yeah.
So, first of all, you have to play the game over and over to even get to this point, right? I
Yep.
think you have to
Yes.
finish it like 5 times or something. And so, like, there's
Yeah.
only a certain number of people who are going to do that. You know, like the people who will do that say, like, no, that is the game. You haven't actually finished. You haven't actually
Yeah.
played Nier unless you've played it 5 times, which I get. I've made similar claims about other games, but
It's a lot to ask, though. I think.
it's a lot to ask. So if you're doing all that, you're extremely committed to this experience already.
Yes.
Right.
I think that would be fair to say.
And so to truly finish Nier, you have to delete your own save. And to me, it's like, well, if that's the end of the game, I'm not going to keep playing it. So
Right,
I don't,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I guess.
I guess a lot of people are pretty precious about that stuff, though. I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up in the memory card era and my, my saves would delete themselves routinely. And like I grew up playing games that every time you played it, you'd start from the beginning because that's just how the game was made. But I never felt very like when I thought it was clever to be like, oh, you have to delete your save and like, the narrative thematic ramifications of that, of like deleting the world or whatever. But I didn't find this to be a difficult choice because I was like, oh, the game's over, I'm gonna uninstall it. I might as well delete the save.
I felt about it.
I think
to be
I'd be
honest.
precious. I never got to 5 times played through. Like
Is it 5?
I feel like it's more than 5. I feel there's like 90 endings.
There's more than that many endings, but some of them aren't real endings. Like if you eat a fish,
That's true.
you
Right,
die of like
yeah.
oil poisoning.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think
if you
it's
have the wrong
3
kind of fish, the
times.
game ends. Yeah, it is. It's
Right.
3 full playthroughs, but you might
Yeah.
have to do other things on the way to be able to play. But
You're right.
you play it
5
once,
endings,
and
but
you
it's
play it
just
again.
3.
And then the third time you play it, you play in a different game. The first 2, you
Right.
basically play in the same game, but you have different perspectives around it.
Yeah. Nier's cool. Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about Mass Effect.
Yeah, baby.
Obviously,
Oh, boy.
many choices we could
Yes.
hone in on. I think probably was it Vermeer? Vermeer? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that and then the very end are like the 2 biggest ones.
Yes, I would agree.
And whether you save Ashley or Caden
Yeah.
is like matters a lot because it matters for 2 whole games, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the payoff for that isn't really until the next game.
Which one is the
you could
space
argue.
racist again? I always forget.
Ashley is the space racist.
Yeah,
That's it. I thought so. Before I suddenly shout, I save Ashley. I had to make sure.
yeah, because the one you save can become like a villain, right? Or
No, not necessarily a villain. So the one that you save stays with you for the rest of that game. They have a little bit of guilt. You can kind of speak to them, but it's not really a big narrative conceit. Like they're just there in the game, and the other one's not. In the
yeah.
second game, really Shepard is the villain. So you die at the very start of the second game, and you are revived by the bad guys from the first game. And they put you to it. And as far as you're concerned, you're doing good. You're kind of acting on this big galactic threat that the clean cut good guys that you worked for in the first game. They didn't take it seriously then. They're still not really taking it seriously now. So you're on a little bit of a collision course with either Caden or Ashley. There's one mission where you go and do something, and then Caden or Ashley show up at the end, and they're like, "What the hell is going on?" You have to be like, "No, trust me. Like, I don't really work for Cerberus. I'm just doing this for Cerberus." And they're like, they don't believe you. They cut all ties. Then the end of that game, you kind of have a switch back, and you end up back with the Alliance, which is the good guys. And in the third game, whoever you kept alive will be a main squad mate for you. They'll be the one you get at the start of the game.
Right.
They will be romanceable, depending on who you. If you play as a woman and kept Ashley alive, then no. Every other possible scenario of that, you will be able to romance the companion. So it has that way, but also they're a major player in the third game. Like there is a character, and there's a couple of other instances of that as well. You can kill Rex in the first game, and that changes pretty dramatically what happens in the third game and a little bit in the second game. So
he dies so easily as well. Like I remember reading up on it way before playing the first. It was just like, make sure this doesn't happen. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think the way in which you like make choices in Mass Effect, it feels a little bit dated now because it's like, do this thing or do that thing, and then games have moved away from a wheel and you spin it around and you get one choice to the other. But certainly in that era when games just weren't really making choices, it was a really effective way, I think, to be able to do that.
Yeah, agreed.
So what's the right answer?
I would argue this is not necessarily a one with the right answer, because while Ashley is kind of labeled as a space racist, I think her narrative is really interesting and really important for understanding humanity. Because the fact is, Ashley's a pretty normal human in the game. Most of the humans that we meet are space racists. It's a metaphor for America. Humans are the newest major civilization of the galaxy and think themselves above everybody. It's not subtle. Caden is quite dull and I don't think has as interesting a storyline because he becomes about kind of the twisted nature of how biotics experiment on humans. But then the second game we meet Jack, who is a better example of that. We don't really meet a better example of Ashley. So I would argue that narratively keeping Ashley alive gives the story more depth. But
space racist.
Ashley is a less likable and less popular character than Caden. Caden's kind of worst thing Caden does is he's dull. The worst thing Ashley does is she's racist.
Yes. I picked Ashley not because she's racist, but because Caden was boring.
Yes, he's incredibly boring.
I think I chose Caden. It's been a while, but
Ashley represents America and Caden represents Canada. And they used to nothing wrong, but everyone just doesn't really like him. He's so dull.
Okay, here's the choice of all time: cure cancer or end world hunger.
Oh, Saints Row.
Saints Row.
Instantly. God.
That's such a funny way to open the game.
I mean, that's a tough one, right?
I think I chose cancer. If I remember, that has been a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure I chose cure cancer.
I would imagine that hunger kills more people than cancer.
I would agree with that, but I think world hunger is more preventable.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you need to cure cancer to fully prevent it, whereas we have, not to get political, but we have all the food that we need on Earth to feed every person on Earth.
So you believe we don't have the cure for cancer? This one,
I'm
getting even more political.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's in a specific lab that only certain members of the political elite have access to.
That's right. Fable 2. You get to make a wish at the end. You guys remember?
Bring back the dog. Bring back the dog.
Save the dog. Is it what's it? Save the dog. Save the town. Is that one of them?
Save the dog. Get rich. Get
rich is definitely one. Yeah,
I think is one of them. Like you get like all your points back down.
It's revive the citizens. or
Yeah.
resurrect your family, or get rich.
Oh, and you resurrect your family, you never see them. You get like a note, and your dog's back. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
cheap. Cheap
Yeah.
outcome.
This comedy game with an ending where you can save the dog has a cheap ending.
I mean, it's
Indeed.
obviously save the dog.
Yeah.
I think I did save the dog. Yeah.
All right. That's it for this episode. We'll be back next week with another episode of Your Favorite Game. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And those are our favorite games. So let us know your favorite games with choices that matter too. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and visit us at thegamer.com. That's The Gamer, no space.